There are 7 different computer modules in a Harley Davidson Pan America, most of which can only be updated by a Harley Davidson dealer using their special computer. However, there is one module, that being the infotainment display or the instrument panel, that anybody can update with access to a computer to download the file and a USB stick to install it with. Let me show you how to do that. The first step in installing an update on your instrument panel is to download the update file from Harley Davidson onto a USB stick. Now, the Pan America only has a USB-C port, so if you don't have a USB-C memory stick, you can get an adapter like I have here that will let you use a regular USB stick and convert it to a USB-C style port, and I'll include a link down below in the description where you can get one of these if you need it. And then we just pull up the Harley Davidson website and scroll down all the way to the bottom, and under the motorcycle services menu you will see a link for software updates. So we'll click that, and then that brings up the infotainment support resources on the Harley Davidson website. Scroll down in the table of contents until you see Pan America. We'll click that, and then that shows us the latest software version for the Pan America instrument module. Before we click to download the file, let's take a look at the release notes to see what updates are included in this version. The release notes will include updates for all of the different software versions, but we're just going to focus on the latest one here, which was released in December 11th of 2023, and you can see the various improvements and what they call fixes that Harley Davidson has made with this release. A couple of key things that I find interesting is the ARH icon. They changed the color of the flashing shock from yellow to green, and the heated grip icon is now only visible when your heated grips are actually on. One other thing in the release notes I want to call your attention to: notice how at the top it says it requires BCM software 13.4 or newer. If not, a code's going to set. Now, there's no way for end users to be able to tell what version of software is on any particular computer module in the bike, with the exception of the instrument panel. For all the rest, only the dealer can do that with their computer. At the time that this video was released, the latest BCM update from Harley was released in January of 2023. So if you took delivery of your bike after that date, you should be good to go. Or if your bike has been serviced by a Harley Davidson dealer, it should be good as well, because they're supposed to install the latest updates as part of any service that they do. Otherwise, I would recommend that your bike pays a visit to your dealer so that they can make sure that all of the modules in the bike have the latest updates. So we go back to our other page and we can click to download the latest software file. Once that's done downloading, we can go into the downloads folder and right-click on that zip file to extract it. Go into that folder and you're looking for that .pv2 file. Copy that .pv2 file onto your USB stick. Now I'm ready to load the update onto the bike. Before I do that, a couple of tips. One, I'm going to turn the bike on in accessory mode. To do that, just need to have your key fob in range. I'm just going to set it right here on the seat, and then you press and hold the trip select button, which is the one right underneath of your heated grips button. Press and hold that down until you see the Harley Davidson logo display on the screen, and then you can release it. This puts the bike in accessory mode, which is going to use less power overall because we're not powering up the ECU, we're not priming the fuel pump and things like that. Speaking of power, my second tip is to have the battery fully charged and connected to a battery tender or battery charger. Now you can't use the built-in battery tender connection that comes on this bike for that, because that connection is only active when the bike is completely powered off. I have a second battery tender hookup that I hardwired directly to my battery that I can always get to. If you don't have something like that, I do recommend that you drop the skid plate so that you can get to your battery terminals. Make sure you have a constant source of power to your battery as you're doing this update, because we all know how finicky these bikes are with the computer modules and the voltage dropping, and you don't want that voltage dropping while you're in the middle of installing an update. Install the USB stick into the USB-C port on the side of the display mount. And then we use the buttons on the left-hand controls to get into our settings menu and scroll down all the way to the bottom to the software. And we can look at our software information to see what our current version is, if you want to make a note of that to compare after you do the update. Okay. And now to kick it off, I just scroll back up, select Infotainment Software Update. That's going to now show me the file that I have loaded onto my USB stick. I'll go ahead and select that, and it's now going to prompt to confirm if that you want to indeed load that update. So we'll select the checkbox for that. And now it's telling us that it's loading. And then the screen goes blank. Don't panic, this is normal. And now the screen displays the status of loading the various updates associated with this file. Just be patient, it does take a few minutes for it to load through all of that. All right, it's done loading the updates, it's ready to reboot. All right, now that the reboot is done, you see I do have a, looks like I have a fault. Let's see what's going on. All right, so we'll go into my diagnostics menu, and it looks like I have a fault in the left-hand control module. 15600. All right, so I just looked up that code, 15600. It's just a communication failure. It's saying that the left-hand control module lost communication with the instrument panel, right? Very likely as it was resetting. So I'm just going to go ahead and clear that fault out, and now I'm going to take the bike out of accessory mode. We do that the same way by just holding down that trip select button. Now I'm going to remove the USB stick, and I'm going to take my key fob out of range of the bike for a few minutes just to make sure that all the computers go to sleep and reset. All right, now I'm ready to fire it up and see how everything went. Turn on ignition. All right, everything is looking good so far. I don't have a ride mode fault anymore. Already I can see that one of the updates that it made, my adaptive ride height icon, the flashing icon, is now green instead of yellow. Let's go ahead and fire it up. Now the other change that comes with this update is the heated grips icon is only active when the grips are on. So you can see that it's not there. And if I press the button to turn them on high, right, I have the high indicator cycle down to medium, low, and off, and it disappears. One of the other updates, as indicated in the release notes, is high contrast mode is now available in the display settings. So if we scroll down into, appearance, and we have high contrast, we can turn that on, turn that off. Really all that's doing is the same thing that we were previously able to do just by holding down the home button on the left-hand control. Nothing groundbreaking there. I guess they just wanted to have it as a visible option and not some hidden secret, if you will. So there you have it. If you've never installed your own software updates onto the infotainment display, hopefully this showed you that it's not that scary of a process. Biggest thing in my opinion is just to take those few precautions to make sure that your battery voltage is not going to dip down while you're in the middle of installing this update. As always, thanks for watching and ride safe.